My question is to the acting Premier. In March, Kwame Omoa was illegally evicted from his home in my riding. His new landlord forcibly removed him, his 4 roommates and their belongings onto the street. Despite the police charging the landlord with assault, and despite the Landlord and Tenant Board ruling it was an illegal eviction, Kwame has been unable to return home. He is now living in a homeless shelter and his mental health is suffering. Acting Premier, what is your plan to stop illegal evictions and help renters keep their homes?
Acting Premier.
Minister of Housing.
Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing.
Thanks, Speaker. I want to thank the honourable member for the question. It's a very serious situation, and I know all members of the House and our municipal partners are very concerned with the level of housing that and social housing opportunities we have in Ontario. I think we can all agree, Speaker, that in the Greater Toronto and Hamilton areas, we're in a crisis when it comes to the supply of housing. And I think it's very important for all members of the House, no matter what political stripe, that we put a plan in place to deal with that serious supply problem. So there are a number of very crisis situations we have, and I know that as the weather gets colder, some of those situations get even more critical. I think our government always looks at it with a lens of how can we cooperate, how can we work with our 47 service managers, our 2 Indigenous program administrators, the private sector and the public sector, and I'll say more in the supplementary, Speaker.
Supplementary.
Thank you. My question is back to the acting Premier. This isn't just about supply and community housing. Kwame's experience is part of a very scary trend. There has been a 100% increase in the number of applications to evict renters for reasons other than non-payment of rent. Once you are evicted, it is very difficult to find an affordable apartment in this city. The vacancy rate in Toronto is the lowest in 16 years, and the average rent for a 1-bedroom apartment is now the highest in Canada. The Landlord and Tenant Board is simply not doing enough to help people who are facing a legal eviction. Acting Premier, what is this government going to do to stop these growing trends which have good tenants facing homelessness?
Minister.
Thanks, Speaker, and again, thank you for the question. There needs to be a lot of work done in our system, Speaker. There's no doubt about it. The Landlord-Tenant Board, some of the issues that the member was speaking about, there does need to be more resources, and I'm working with the Attorney General on that issue. In terms of housing supply, I appreciate her comments. There's many partners in this, Speaker. While I'm very pleased that the federal government has a renewed interest on the housing file, I think there are many things we can do. I think that we can streamline the situation. I think we can work across sectors. And rather than heckle me from the opposition benches, I think this is a non-partisan issue. I think we can all work together. It doesn't matter whether it's the municipal government, whether it's the federal government, whether
for Waterloo, come to order.
Our private sector partners, whether it's our
response.
We all need to work together to ensure that the system is transformed and that we create more supply. That's the bottom line, Speaker.